AP Chemistry Unit 8.1 Introductions to Acids and Bases. Bronsted Lowry acid-base reactions involve a transfer of a proton, otherwise known as hydrogen ions, from one substance to another. Acids are going to be my proton donors, and bases are going to be my proton acceptors. A substance that can act as an acid or a base, depending on what it's reacting with, is referred to as amphiprotic. In acid-base equilibria, protons can be transferred in both directions. So we can have initially our acid being dissolved in water, and then our proton leaves the anion from our acid and attaches onto water. It's important to note here that this is more true as to what's actually happening within solutions. There's not actually lone protons that are floating around, so we won't necessarily see H pluses. Really, what we'll see is that water will grab onto them and we get this hydronium ion instead. So H3O plus is a more accurate view of what you could see when an acid dissociates, but they're basically interchangeable, but just so that you're aware. An acid-base pair that differs only by one proton is referred to as a conjugate acid and base pair. So if we are looking here, this is the acid, this is my conjugate base, okay? I have lost a proton, and so this is what would now accept a proton, and so it would act as a base. This is amphiprotic, and so, but once it accepted the proton, this is going to be my conjugate acid. So base, conjugate acid. Since this is what accepted the proton, this was acting as my base. This is my conjugate acid. It can redonate the proton. Strong acids are going to completely dissociate in water, and their conjugate bases are relatively weak. This means that they're bad at reaccepting those protons. Those protons dissociate very, very readily, and the conjugate base just doesn't really want to take those protons back. Whereas weak acids only partially dissociate in water, and their conjugate bases are relatively strong, meaning that initial dissociation of the hydrogen from the acid just doesn't really happen, and when it does, the conjugate base will readily accept that proton again. And so you can say that the stronger the acid, the weaker its conjugate base, and therefore the weaker the acid, the stronger its conjugate base. Water is amphiprotic, so much so that it can transfer protons to itself, and this is referred to as autoionization. So basically, just when it's just pure water, water will trade protons back and forth between itself, something that would look like this. So I just have two water molecules here, and one of the water molecules is going to kick off a proton, become that hydroxide, and then the other water is going to pick up that proton, and we get that hydronium ion that we talked about before, instead of that pure loose proton that we sometimes see when we talk about acids. And the equilibrium expression for this process is this. So it's Kw, and then it's the concentration of the hydronium multiplied by the concentration of the hydroxide, and that value is equal to 1 times 10 to the negative 14th. And if we have a concentration of hydrogen that's larger than our concentration of hydroxide, then we will be acidic. If we have a concentration of hydrogen that's less than our concentration of hydroxide, then we will be basic. And if we have a concentration of hydrogen that is equal to the concentration of our hydroxide, then we are neutral. Remember again that the just H plus, the hydrogen ion, and this hydronium are kind of interchangeable. This is what we see with water. Water's picking it up, and again, those acids are dissociating within water. So H3O plus, the hydronium ion, is like the more accurate thing in terms of what actually happens within solutions. But you're just kind of expected to know that this is what's actually happening, but we simplify to this. Ionization of water is an endothermic process, and so it is favored at higher temperatures. At 25 degrees Celsius, a neutral solution would have a pH of 7. However, at different temperatures, water will have a different pH, but it would still remain neutral since the concentration of hydrogen to hydroxides would be equal no matter what the temperature is. So that means that Kw, pH, and therefore pOH are going to be temperature dependent. Now, when we talk about the pH scale, we typically talk about this value 0 to 14, where less than 7 is considered acidic and greater than 7 is considered basic. Even though normally we just write the pH scale being 0 to 14, that's not actually the limits of pH. pH can go over 14 and it can go below 0. So just so that you're aware, if you end up calculating pH of a very strong acid that's very high molarity, you can get a pH that is less than 0, or it's very strong base with a high molarity, you can get a pH that's over 14. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. I do have a dumb joke to help you remember which side of the pH scale is basic and which one's acidic. And that dumb joke basically goes like, I'm looking at a girl and she thinks she's all that, and I do not think she's all that, and she's like, I'm a 10. And then my response is, maybe on the pH scale, because you basic, okay? So sorry for that cringy joke, but sometimes cringy jokes do help us remember. And again, anything over 7, that's going to be basic. Anything under 7 is going to be acidic. And so here we have our overall equations that we need to know. And so if we were given the concentration of hydrogen and we were asked for the pH, we would calculate it just by saying negative log of the concentration of hydrogen. That would give us our pH. However, if we were given pH and we were asked for the initial concentration of hydrogen, we would just raise 10 to the negative pH. pOH is calculated basically the exact same way. pOH is going to be the negative log of the concentration of hydroxides. So this is generally what we're going to be using initially when we are given a base specifically that's going to go ahead and give off hydroxides. And then again, if we were given the pOH, we wanted to find the initial concentration of hydroxide, 10 to the negative pOH. And we also have that pKw is going to be equal to negative log of Kw. And that all is added together. So pH plus pOH is going to give me 14, and that is the pKw. Okay, so if you have any of these values, you can find any of the other ones based off of this understanding here. Okay, so if we were given a concentration of the sodium hydroxide and I asked what the pH was, first I would go ahead and calculate the pOH, and then I would use this expression here, that pH plus pOH is equal to 14, to get me over to pH.